Hello and welcome to Follow Everton. I'm here with Mabbsy, Jonathan, and our special guest today, Chelsea superfan and sports journalist Noah Abrams. Noah, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you guys for having me on. Looking forward to tomorrow night and, of course, to the next half an hour. How long have we got? An hour? Half an hour?
Half an hour, roughly.
However long we want.
And in the Everton corner, Mabbsy and Jon, how are you doing, boys?
Yeah, great.
All good, thank you. Can't complain.
Yet again, made up.
6 in a row now. It's brilliant.
Six at home. Happy days. It is amazing.
Right, I want you to all play nice because we've got a lot to talk about today.
Nice.
Everton and Chelsea is a fantastic fixture, but a game that Everton haven't won in a very long time, and we're going to talk about that in some real detail very shortly. Jonathan, would you like to introduce Noah to us, and then we'll hear a little bit from him about what he does?
I would. Ladies and gentlemen, Noah has been one of my closest mates for a very long time, back home in London together. Unfortunately, he is a Chelsea fan, but we make do with that. He's a very good sports journalist. He's studying at uni at the moment. I'll let him talk more about that soon. But luckily, we've been on the radio together for Harrow. He's with Vibe FM. And very luckily, he gets to go to matches at the moment, see players live. I'll let Noah introduce himself now for you guys, but welcome to the show, Noah.
No, thank you so much for having me, and it's great to be here. Jon, very kind introduction, and Jonathan is one of my closest friends. I've known him a long, long time. And like Jon said, I'm a sports journalist student, a sports journalist working for different broadcasters and print outlets, so I get to go to a lot of free football. I think I've been to 20 or so games in the last month or two. So since lockdown, since the previous kind of third lockdown, I've been doing a lot of football reporting across the country, and it's great fun. Lots of free football. It's not the same without fans there. You don't hear that roar when a goal goes in, and you'll never get used to the silence of hearing everything that's said on the pitch. But it's a brilliant way to live.
Well, we're all very jealous of you, and let's hope that you're still friends after this and the gloves don't come off too much. But you mentioned about the crowd noise not being the same. I heard that the guy that puts on the goal scoring sound and the crowd atmosphere at Liverpool's gone on furlough as he's no longer needed because they haven't scored. Long may it continue.
Well, we're talking about did you hear that though? They're talking about the moving the second to last game and the last game, the Premier League, so they can have fans in for the final.
Yeah, I saw, and that's against City.
That'll be amazing.
So.
No, it's the final game. It's the game before as well. The moving.
Oh, is that home?
They want to, yeah. So that would be. I know it's only talk, but we may get the last home game, which would be. Just bear with me. I'm just trying to figure it out now. That would be something else. That to be back in our seats.
If we got in for the West Ham game, that which is like going to be one of our biggest games of the season, that would be absolutely incredible.
It's Wolves on 15th now. I think there is talk to be moving that, and
I think that was the last game I saw.
If that's midweek,
that was the last game I saw. Yeah,
I'd be really happy just to get back into the last game. Get a season ticket renewed. Jobs are good.
Grab a pint.
Okay. It will be exciting. Noah, you're a Chelsea fan. I'm sure you've seen a few Everton games this season and over the years, obviously, with what you're doing as part of your course. What do you think about Everton's season so far from an outside perspective? Have you been impressed with the job Carlo's done?
Very impressed with King Carlo. I knew he was a great manager from his time at Chelsea. It's not often that look, he had a great squad at Chelsea, but he still had to win the Premier League and of course the FA Cup. So a top manager, players like Richarlison, Decore, firing in all cylinders at the back. Holgate and Keane as well. Very impressed with DCL. What a star player he is. So yeah. Carlo Ancelotti's made all the difference, obviously. Under Koeman at Everton weren't that impressive. So you're seeing the switch under Allardyce. They certainly weren't under Allardyce, although I think he got a lot of unfair stick. I mean,
don't talk about him.
But listen, where did you finish? Where did you finish under Sam Allardyce?
We
Eighth.
finished 8th, but it was dross. It was horrible. It was excruciating.
Not a good time.
Don't
But
want
you
to be
finished
that
8th.
bad.
So, look, I think Sam Allardyce got a lot of unfair criticism. I think he's a good manager. But yeah, very impressed with Everton. How can you not be looking from the outside in?
Fantastic. No, it's been a long time actually since Everton have got anything at Stamford Bridge. Yeah. There's been a few close shaves. I remember there was a goal we conceded right at the very end. I was actually at Stamford Bridge for that game, and I kind of felt quite heartbroken. And then I remember there was one Morales scored. Is that right? Yeah, I mean, there's just a couple of really close games that I think Everton threw away. Do you consider them big threats tomorrow night?
Absolutely. This season, they might prove one of Chelsea's most difficult opponents this season. I think. Look, against Liverpool, who are in incredibly poor form at the moment, there wasn't really a test for Chelsea in the form we're in. Against Tottenham, again, we're in poor form when we played them. Against Atletico Madrid, that's a different story. But the big teams we've played this season haven't been in the best form. Man United as well. I know today's result, but slipping down the table a little bit from that perch they were on a month or two ago. So, yeah, it's going to be a really, really difficult game for Chelsea. But I think
we really do owe you on, because absolutely, I've gone back when many of the time on the coach being gutted that we've been spanked by you. So last game of Phantom, wasn't it?
It was a year ago.
Yeah. A year ago. It was on actually to the day, I think it's going to be as well.
Just a disclaimer, Noah. You use some foul language there on this channel. I know you're new around here, but we actually refer to them as the Red Shite, not as Liverpool. So if you could just watch your language. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Much appreciated.
My heart was beating there. I thought I'd offended people.
Yeah, get it right.
Here's a question. Here's a question for you. Hi, guys. Noah, this is to you. How much do you think Everton have progressed in the last year? Bearing in mind, we lost 4-0 to Chelsea exactly 1 year tomorrow.
Massively. If this fixture was a year ago, I wouldn't have had Everton down as a real threat for Chelsea. I think, even though Chelsea went in the best form themselves a year ago, but listen, Everton have come on and progressed so much under Carlo Ancelotti, and I knew Richarlison at Watford. I also knew Decore at Watford, so I know exactly how they played. And the difference under Ancelotti to the way they played at Watford, not that they weren't actually pretty outstanding, because they were the Hornets' best players, but they've come on so well, and it's definitely that Carlo influence that it was a genius decision getting him in, and it's the mindset as well. You've got this stadium that's just been confirmed, right? So that's everyone is happy at that football club right now, and when you're winning games, all right. The Josh Mann full of masterclass wasn't great, but
no, with the stadium, it's a dodgy one at the moment. Yeah, we've got planning. But we're just waiting to 17th now to get it confirmed by the government that they're not going to be calling it in, and then we can get on with actually the build. That's the last hurdle we need to get on now.
Are you guys sad to be leaving Goodison Park? Is it a bit like fans leaving?
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but it's the right move the club needs to make to get the revenues in, so we can put up on the tables and compete with us. Because at the moment, you go to Stamford Bridge, it's a great stadium. You've got the hotel on the corner, you've just got everything. We haven't got any of that. We're struggling for corporates, and I know people say a lot about it's not for the fans, but unfortunately, the way of the world, corporate is the way to go to get your money in, get the increase in your revenues, FFA and all that. So yours is stalled, hasn't it? Your stadium plans like gone off the table now.
Yeah, I think 2 or 3 years ago there were all sorts of plans to move elsewhere, but I'm pretty sure Chelsea will stay put. And I've always said I like Stamford Bridge. It's a cosy ground. It's a very tight and compact 42,000 stadium. I don't think you necessarily need to be at the 60,000 capacity. I know there's this kind of expectation now that all top 4 Premier League teams must have a 60,000 capacity stadium or more. But for me, I quite like Stamford Bridge, and I like a nice scarf, Ryan. And I like the cozy feeling that you get when you go there.
So
I think the thing with Goodison is,
are they?
Oh, go on.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, the thing with Goodison is it's got a lovely home feel. You can feel the history behind it, and obviously it's in our song. If you know your history, it's just the feeling behind it. It will be sad to move, but as Mabbsy said, it is the right move for the club.
Yeah. Are you actually expanding Stamford Bridge, or is that now again off the table, or is that just dead in the water? Or
so the plans were to expand Stamford Bridge, and then Roman Abramovich's visa ran out, and he couldn't get into the country. And since plans have,
he's in Israel.
He is in Israel, and since plans have really kind of, they haven't really gone. Nothing's really come to fruition from them. So I'm not too sure, but I think for the time being, Stamford Bridge will stay as it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's move on to the business end, shall we say? Got the niceties out of the way.
Team news. Team news for Everton we'll start with. We didn't really get much out of Ancelotti in that game, did we? It was quite... we didn't really get much out of him in his press conference because he did it after the last match, straight after. So we don't really know what the situation is, but we did hear a rumor this morning. Unfortunately, we're not. It could be absolutely a load of rubbish that Decore has broken his foot. Mabbsy, would you like to elaborate on this rumor that you've heard?
One of my mates texted me. He said Decore may have broken his foot. There's not been anything said about it. But if it is, he's out of the season. But again, it's not confirmed, so I'm not going to say it's a definite. That's what I've just heard. But who knows? Hopefully, it's bollocks. I'm fucking hoping it's bollocks.
There you go. Good time.
That was the question. Okay. Just coming in there. So there you go.
So you'll see in a sec. We've drafted a team against Chelsea, and it hasn't got Decore in it. Obviously, it is a big worry as he has a central role in our team, and he provides both going forward and in defence as well. So we've built the team around without Decore, but we'll see and discuss. Feel free to keep sending in your comments and your questions about the team, and we'll move on to that shortly.
I think there's a lot more to this story. I think it's very convenient that all of a sudden, 2 days after Abdoulaye Decore is found driving with no insurance in North London, he's not playing. I think it's a PR stunt from Everton have a pretty good PR team, and I think it's a PR stunt. I don't think there's anything.
We don't know he's not playing. We don't know.
We don't know.
But I didn't
also,
know about that.
Once they sort out the whole driving thing, he's obviously not going to be at a broken foot. He would be out for many, many weeks. So there's no. That's a poor way from Everton if they're trying to cover it up. I know it's a bit of a coincidence they've happened at the same time, but we'll have to see what news develops. I'm sure Ancelotti will shed some light on the subject ahead of the match preview for tomorrow.
By the way, we do know that commenting is off on our Twitter through Periscope. It's something we're going to try and fix for the next video. But if you want to leave a comment, you can watch through Facebook, which is at FollowEverton, or on our YouTube channel. Now, we're going for 100 subscribers. I know there's 23 of you watching this video as we speak. If you can support our new channel, go over to YouTube and search for FollowEverton. Give us a like on this video and subscribe. Once we get 100 subscribers, we can have a proper URL, and it's really easy to share. So please do that for us.
Ryan,
Noah, Decore, you're impressed with him as a player, but he's not the only player you've been impressed with in terms of new midfield signings. Alan was a player you were quite impressed with at Napoli, wasn't he?
First of all, let's start with his name. Is it Alan or is it Alan? What do you think?
I'm going with Alan.
It's a Scouse thing.
Again, it depends what commentator you've got on.
So I heard there was a whole argument about Alan and whether his name was Alan or Alan. I think it's quite funny when Brazilians come over to this country with names like Fred and Alan. But there you go. Yeah, he's a good player, really good player. Why not add a bit of flair into an Everton team that has enough already? Look, I don't want him playing against my team because he's got that threat for sure. But yeah, I'd be very happy if I were an Everton fan, and he's just come over and it's a great signing.
Excellent. So moving back to the team news, just to clarify, moving away from the Decore, it isn't confirmed rumours. We're not going to confirm or deny at this stage. We don't really know. Yerry Mina is this game's come too soon for the Colombian centre back. Fabian Delph not expected to be involved, and of course, sick note: Jean-Philippe Gbamin's probably not going to play, and we don't think he's going to play again this season. Surprise, surprise! What are you more sure of? Liverpool losing the next fixture, or Gbamin not playing in the next fixtures? I mean, it's like it is a difficult one. James Rodriguez, obviously, Noah, you'll have seen him. He's a fantastic footballer. He is a doubt. We think he's a doubt. He's a doubt.
Yeah, I've read he's injured. I've been told he's injured for this game, so he won't be playing apparently.
Small problem.
You know more than us then, bloody hell.
Yes.
He is a sports journalist and student. No, James Rodriguez, if he doesn't play, that's a big loss, isn't it, really?
Oh, massive loss. He's come to the Premier League, and I think actually he's a bit like Bale, not in terms of the way he plays, but in terms of he's come to the Premier League, and it took him a little while to adapt. I think at first we thought, okay, this guy, we've seen him on the world stage, we've seen him with Colombia, we've seen him everywhere else, and I think we thought he was a slow burner, but I think since he's really got going, since Everton have picked up the form as well, he's crucial. He is crucial. I think without him, I don't think you'd be where you are without him. What a player.
John, are you ready to share our team news graphic? We finally got
I'm ready when you are.
Graphic working. Come on, let's have a look.
So this is a prediction that I've gone with, or something that I'd like to see. So we'd put Pickford in goal. Obviously, been doing very well recently. He's had 3 clean sheets on the row. Hopefully, make it 4. And then in the back, I've gone with Digne, Godfrey, Keane, and Coleman. Some people might be asking, where's Holgate? I would put Coleman on because if you look at the midfield as well, I've put him with Davies, and I think Davies needs a game where he's with senior players such as Allen and Coleman to really allow him to develop his game, because I feel like the issue with Davies is he's a good player. His head is completely in the right mindset, and always for 90 minutes of the whole game he is 100% work rate. I think just to take him to the next level of the game, I think he needs to be with senior players just to develop his game and move him on to the next stage. So I'd have Coleman there to help him. And then in midfield, I've already said Davies. I'd play Alan. I think he's an integral part to the team. I really think he has good control. I think he provides, again, like consistency, control, and just it doesn't stress out the other players. We're more relaxed but engaged. And then I'd play Gomez there as well. I'll come on to what the names mean underneath in a sec. And then I'd play Sigurdsson. Obviously, we've seen him. He came on against West Brom and he provided the assist. Did very well there. And then I'd have Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin up top, hopefully providing more goals. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin has struggled recently in the past few games to score goals, but Richarlison's been banging form. I think it's 5-5 or 6-6. So hopefully, again, make it more. Hopefully, Calvert-Lewin comes back as well. And then just looking at the names underneath, so I didn't know. Noah's informed us that James Rodriguez is injured and won't be playing.
Don't take my word for it. I've heard it. Don't take my word for it. I've heard it.
Noah, I'm going to sack you if that's not true.
Yeah, last appearance. So I'd play James. I'd make substitutions whenever needed. Obviously, substitutions are based on how we're performing on the game, so we'd need to wait and see. But I'd potentially take off Calvert-Lewin, bring on Keane, or if he's having a blinder of a game, then take Richarlison off and bring on King. King.
And
fly over from PSG, bring him on the pitch, easy peasy. And then I'd replace Sigurdsson with James, just again keep it fresh. I feel like they play a very similar role. It's the creative pass going forward. So when Sigurdsson's legs get a bit tired, we can bring James on. I'd probably start James if he was fit and ready, but apparently he's not. So I'd go with Sigurdsson, and then maybe I'd bring off Gomez or Davies, bring on Bernard just for a bit of extra width. And obviously, Noah will go over to Chelsea soon. But I feel like they are very, very strong attacking. So I feel like having a central defence, we need to cut the ball coming in. So I feel like Alan, Davies and Gomez will provide a strong defence. Godfrey has always been on it time and time again. Digne and Coleman tend to push up, so hopefully it'll bring in a bit of width. But to bring Bernard or either like Iwobi potentially on can also bring some width into the play. So this is the team that I would probably go with.
Mabbsy, I want your sorry to interrupt you. I just want to get some Everton reaction on that team from Mabbsy. Do you think are you happy with that team? If James is injured and Decore is injured, we're not. I don't believe that rumor. I don't believe that. Yeah, would you be happy with that team?
Yeah, I think it's a strong team, and I think it's a good choice. Yeah.
No, does that?
I was waiting for you to grill me, Mabbsy. I'm glad you've defended me there.
No, does that team?
As I say, but we just don't know about Gore and and Rodriguez.
No.
I think the difference is now, though, in the past, we've had a team, like, we'd have our starting 11. If we couldn't play the exact starting 11 that we'd want to, we'd really, really struggle. And one weak player, if we have to sub them in, you can notice a weak link in the team. Whereas now, I feel like we have a few interchangeable players. And, if one person's injured, then we do have someone that can take their place and still give a top performance. So I think it's very nice to see that we've been able to suddenly adapt. And depending on the opponent we have, we can change up the team and to match the opposition play.
That's a really good point from John. I agree with your team, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ancelotti opts to use a 5-3-2 used at Anfield.
I would.
What do you think about that?
I agree with John. Sorry, not my Jonathan. I agree with John. He's just put it in the chat. I think Chelsea could switch to a 5-3-2 if they score early. I think Everton will try and hit Chelsea on the counter attack. I think you'll sit deep, absorb pressure, and try and break when Chelsea go forward with their 3-4-2-1. But we'll talk about Chelsea in a minute. But I agree with John. I was just going to say on Alan as well. He's like a Brazilian Will Hughes for me. He's that anchor in the center of the park. He can pick a pass left or right. I think he's really important to your team.
Just on that point,
team there. Sorry, there's a little bit of a lag between everyone, so we're not trying to talk over each other. It is just because of the lag. Noah, just very quickly on that team, do you get the fear factor when you look at that? Richarlison, powerful, quick, Calvert-Lewin in good form.
Up top, those two up top. They could match any other attacking force in the Premier League on their day. Those two fantastic players, certainly the best two forwards on Merseyside at the moment. Let's put it that way. But
not hard though, let's be honest.
Let's be honest, exactly. Yeah, a fairly strong team. Look, in comparison to Chelsea, I think it's miles apart. But yeah, those front two can certainly cause problems.
Here's a question. John, answer this one. Charles Stevo, would you be tempted to play the extra centre-back over Coleman?
So just very quickly, just back to John, just for 1 second, because I don't want to move away from it. I do agree with your comment about the 5-3-2. However, the players I've selected here, obviously I'm no Ancelotti, but we've got Davies, Allen and Gomez. I feel like Allen and Davies have a very similar role and when they play. It's just that they've got a very similar style. And just with Gomez, I feel like, again, he sits back quite a bit with the option to go forward. So I feel like it is still quite a defensive team, but then we also have the option. I feel like with 5-3-2, I don't want Everton to come out and set defensive too much and just be like, wait, already have that mindset of, let's sit back, just defend the whole time and try and maybe nick a goal. I don't want that mindset because then it sets us in a negative view. I want us to actually go out push, because I feel like if we're coming with that negative view with like we can only get a draw or a loss, then we're not going to actually go out and try and score. Whereas if we have still an attacking team but strong defense, then it allows us to push and try and actually, instead of just nick a goal, actually score quite a few, and then we'll be more confident and then adjust later on in the game. And then to move on to Charles's comment, I feel like with an extra centre-back, it does give us the defensive option. But like I just said, I think Coleman will really help the team with the senior role. He usually plays captain as well when he plays, can help Davies along with Allen to develop his play. And I don't want us to come in too defensive. Obviously, Chelsea in form are a very good team, but I don't want us to come out with this defensive view. I do want us to push forward, try and get one or two, and then once we score, then we can actually sit back and defend the lead.
Question from Basil Grant, who's a contributor, as you know, our very own Basil, aka David, who's not with us today. I think he's watching. Not the brush. James has a lot of quality, but is not notorious for his defensive work. bearing in mind Chelsea are likely to have a lot of the ball, would you start him even if he was fit? That's a really good comment. I'm going to ask Mabbsy for his input on that. James, I think he gets a lot of unfair stick for being apparently defensively, not minded. But what would you say to that comment?
I would start him regardless.
I'll leave it up there.
At the end of I would still say. Sorry, just
yeah.
No, but at the end of the day, the creativity that he makes on the pitch makes up for it. I think
absolutely.
At the end of the day, you look at him and you think, how has he made that pass? You know what I mean? And I think, okay, yeah, he's not the ideal defensive, but going forward is, that's what we need, that creativity. And hopefully, in getting Richarlison going again, if he get providing the service, then we definitely would start him.
And that is the one thing I would probably say, Mabbsy, go just looking at the team that Jonathan's come up with, and we do expect it to be the 4-4-2 diamond. It doesn't allow us that opportunity really to get the ball into the box for Calvert-Lewin so much. But I think it's enforced slightly because the likes of Iwobi's delivery has been really poor. So there's just kind of no point playing them. You never know what you're going to get. So the width's going to come from, Noah's laughing there. The width is going to have to come from fullback. And it is just trying to get some service into Calvert-Lewin because I think he has been starved of crosses in that 6-yard area. No, would you agree with that?
I don't think anyone's going to cause Tony Rudiger problems. Let's put it that way. I think Rudiger is as solid as they get at the back, and I don't think it matters who's going forward for Everton. I think Rudiger and Kante plays as well.
We fucking owe you one, and I think we will do it this time. We will edge it. I'm marking now. We will do it.
I don't think so.
No, I think there's no doubt in my mind. Because at the way we've been playing, we have been absolutely awful against the crap teams, and the average Chelsea's we've been doing quite well. This season, you're absolutely, had to change your manager. It's but yeah.
I'll spar with you, Mabbsy. I'll spar with you because Chelsea are 10 unbeaten. We've got 18 points since Tuchel came in. And we've got the strongest momentum in the Premier League. The only side in the Premier League at the moment who have done better than Chelsea is City. There's no question.
Hang on, City lost, so we'll do one. So why not Everton? Would you a win? Would you a win?
Look, I covered.
You know what? Carly's going to go in there because Chelsea and this pre-point is.
Listen, Mabbsy, I covered Barnsley versus Birmingham City yesterday, and I said exactly the same thing. Barnsley drew a loss. They're unbeaten in 8. And what happened, Barnsley, they didn't play well, but they won. And I think even if Chelsea play badly, they will still beat Everton tomorrow, just because of the form we're in.
Disagree.
I don't
like that.
We will, mark my words, are you going to come on after match reaction afterwards when we win?
If he dares show his face after the win.
He's going to break up now. I'll put it up now.
I will come on. If you want me on,
win, lose or draw. Win, lose or draw.
Win, lose or draw.
Tomorrow after the game.
I will be there after the game tomorrow. Win, lose or draw. Right. I promise you. I'm here.
Well, I will tell you now. We are winning next game.
I love it. That's why I put the two of them just on the screen together to have a little chat. And to be honest with you, before we came on today, me and Jonathan had a little pre-video conversation, and we thought there might be a little bit of sparring between home and away, committed, lifelong blue, Mabbsy and Noah. So, we've seen round one.
Like we did at the beginning of the season.
We're going back for
who won at Goodison Park?
We can't talk about... No, I'm talking about Tuchel. I'm talking about Thomas Tuchel, right? And under Thomas Tuchel, in Chelsea's current form, we haven't conceded at home. We've conceded twice this season away from home. The first was an own goal. Listen, mate, I don't think Everton are going to cause Chelsea problems. And I can't wait to get to the team selection because our squad depth is strong, right? Let's say Havertz doesn't play. It doesn't. Ziyech comes in. It doesn't matter who it is. Someone will always come off the bench and better the performance if we've got a weak link.
We'll see. Well, we are winning this game. I guarantee it. And that's
even in London. Even Alonso could go on for Chilwell and change it. We just don't know.
Well, let's bring it on. As I say, let's see your team. Go on. Let's see your team.
Right.
Let's see what we're dealing with from the Chelsea end. Let's see what we're dealing with. I love it. It's fantastic. This is why we brought you on, Noah.
Oh, perfect.
Here we go. If you want to just bring it in, Ryan. And then Noah, if you want to talk us through your team. The team that are going to lose to Everton, go for it.
Yeah.
So this is a really strong Chelsea team. Chelsea are playing a 3-4-2-1. So you've got Azpilicueta, Christensen and Rudiger across the back. Christensen, let me just start with Christensen to say he's a ball-playing centre-half. He's a number 4 like no other in the Premier League, and he's keeping Thiago, who's missed his last 7 with a thigh problem. He's keeping Thiago out of the side. And Thiago Silva's, it's not like he's a bad player, is it? So you've got across the back Azpilicueta, Christensen and Rudiger, who I touched on a bit earlier. No one gets past Rudiger in that defensive role. Then you've got James.
Well, he said that about Virgil van Dijk, didn't he?
Yeah, but Rudiger's remained fit and he's not injured. So Van Dijk, you can't talk about Van Dijk at the moment with his recent situation. So you got James in front of Azpilicueta. James has had he had 88 touches of the ball against Liverpool, and he's in there for Hudson-Odoi, great player. Then you've got Jorginho in front. And again, he gets so much hate, Jorginho, but a top player. Kante, I don't need to say anything about Kante. We all know what he's like. And then Chilwell in behind Kante in front of Rudiger. Ben Chilwell out on the right. Alonso could come in for him, but I think Chilwell will start. Then you've got Mount. Mason Mount, what a player. Plays in between the lines, can score goals. So intelligent. And
we like him. Whilst I
wouldn't take him to the Euros, he's a fantastic footballer. And then you've got Havertz, who at the moment is just on in front of Ziyech, and I think he's going to start instead of Ziyech, and the reason for that is his height. He can defend any ball that comes into the box as well as score down the opposite end. He will trap back. And Havertz is okay, this is a big statement. He's a bit like Johan Cruyff, Kai Havertz. He's that kind of player, and I love the way How
much are we paying you, Noah?
Keep it coming. Timo Werner up front. This is where I really wanted to talk about Werner, because he exists on the shoulder of that last defender. He fits in perfectly with the creative players in behind. He creates space for the creative players in behind. And with Mount and Pulisic, or Mount and Havertz,
26 appearances and only 5 goals.
He's new to the Premier League. We spoke about We spoke about Rodriguez, right? New to the Premier League. Werner, new to the Premier League. You can't expect him to score on all cylinders. And he should have scored against Liverpool. Let's be honest. He should have scored against Liverpool.
Well, he didn't. So yeah.
You're not impressed, Mabbsy. You don't think he's good enough.
10 million the goal so far. Yeah, great bargain.
Mr. Maddie, here's what I think you'll do. I think you'll stick Digne on the left if he plays, right? And try and hit Chelsea on the counter. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think you're going to be very successful with it, but I think that's what you're going to do. I think you're going to switch it up and you're going to put Digne on the left. But I don't think it's going to work. Chelsea, in the form they're in, with that front three, with Werner, confident, which is a really important word. Werner's feeling confident in the moment. This is not the time to be playing Chelsea, as I said to you earlier.
Deleted anyway, but there we go.
No, you make a good point. Actually, I just want to touch on that. Actually, Digne could play left mid, Godfrey left back. We don't have. Holgate would play centre back, Coleman right back, Keane centre back, maybe. But
I feel like I said though, it's asking for a too defensive setup, and it's too sitting back. And I know the counter attack would rely on us sitting back and then taking advantage of when they're moving forward. I think Chelsea do have a very attacking team, and they are going to hit us with a big force. But I think the way we're set out, I don't want to sit back too much. Obviously, we can adapt as we move through the game. But I really wouldn't want to see Everton set up too defensively and then sit back the whole game, because if we do concede and we're set up with such a defensive team, then we're not going to be able to hit back, and then we're asking to get battered.
I think last season, when we conceded, we always let our heads drop, especially at Stamford Bridge. But this season, I just feel that we don't. If we concede, it's not like game over. It's like we need to. And do you feel that attitude has changed, that mentality has changed this season?
I forgot to touch on Mendy as well. I started with the front three, but Mendy in goal instead of Kepa. He switched it up a little bit before Tuchel, but Mendy, I'm sure, will start. And again, has only conceded twice, and he hasn't conceded at Stamford Bridge under Mr. Tuchel. So, yeah, I think with Mendy in goal, with Timo Turner up front, I think.
Well, it's all very well you bringing up these statistics, but before 6 games ago or at home, Liverpool were undefeated. You'd see that they won like 63 on a row, and now they're in a very bad form. So when you come to Everton, when we go to Chelsea, be ready for a good fight, because times are changing.
Liverpool look like they were falling off.
This time.
This season is very different. I think in the past, I've really embraced my bitter blue side. I've been, you know what, I don't care if Everton are going to win or lose, but as long as Liverpool are losing, that makes me happy. Whereas now this season, I've looked at them and I really don't care what the Red Shite are doing. You know what, Everton are on top. We've got 2 games in hand on them and we're 3 points ahead. You know what, it's the threat in Merseyside is now blue, and it's not going to be red for a while. So you know what, prepare Chelsea, because Everton are coming for you.
Massive game
coming our way.
I just want to ask Noah, this is for you. How do Everton beat this Chelsea? Because you're very adamant that Chelsea are going to win, okay?
Yeah.
And Mabbsy's adamant that Everton are going to win. The real deal this season, Everton. No more nonsense. No more messing about. We'll have predictions a bit later, but you are adamant that Chelsea are going to win. But if Everton were to get something, how do they go about exploiting this Chelsea team? What are the weaknesses in this team?
It's very difficult. Look, I mean, you saw Kante got beat against Liverpool out on the left. I think it was Fabinho that beat Kante. No one really expected it. He's only human, and Kante can have a bad game. So I'd say definitely through Kante, if you can pull him in, and he's not the quickest, is he? If you can pull him in and ping the ball around him, then maybe there. It's hard to say. Christensen, as I said, confidence. If you can get the ball around Christensen at the start of the game, his confidence tends to drop pretty quickly. So with Kante and Christensen, but Chelsea are looking so strong at the moment. It's really hard to pick out weaknesses. Havertz has his critics, like Jorginho does. But like I said, if Havertz is playing bad, we'll bring on Hakim Ziyech, who's a wonderful footballer. So I don't think there are many weaknesses, but I'd say if you can lower the morale of Christensen, because he is a player that plays on. Seriously, he's a player that plays on his confidence, and if he's not feeling it at the start of the game, then it will show throughout. So it's a strange one, I know, but that's where I'd say you can hit Chelsea hard.
I think confidence is a big one, but to also say on that, I would say that Everton, on the whole, not just one player, but a whole team that plays on confidence. And obviously, they haven't been convincing wins, but we've beaten the Red Shite away 2-0 with great result. We've beat Southampton and we've beaten West Brom. So I think you're having 2 teams that are both in form. It's going to be a very good battle, and you know what, it means so much for the points in the table. Obviously, Everton do have a game in hand on Chelsea, but they are above us. But one win would put us above you, and even a draw and then a next win, which is our game in hand against Villa, which I do see us winning comfortably. It would push us above you. So I think for confidence wise, although you might have a few confident players that are going to play well, I think Everton as a whole team will play very, very well under confidence. And if you look at Southampton and West Brom, although they weren't convincing wins, I think our mindset was, you know what, we're going to win this anyway. So we didn't really push for it. Whereas we do turn up against the big 6 sides. And I really do think you're going to have a hammering tomorrow.
Just quickly, let's not forget that Chelsea can play out from the back better than most sides in the Premier League.
I'm not knocking Chelsea. I do think it's going to be a very good contest between 2 big teams tomorrow. I think Chelsea are a strong team, but I also think Everton have got a lot to give.
So I just want to ask Mabbsy this question. You've been listening patiently. The blood's boiling in him because he's so passionate, and he hates every other team but his own. And the question for him, and we're going to go to some questions in the comments in a second, is the Chelsea back four vulnerable, given they won't have played against anything like DCL and Richarlison, and they don't seem to do great against them in the home games?
I was to say, if we get that service into DCL and Richarlison, I think we will crack it. I think it's going to. My prediction, I reckon, is going to be close. I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a close 1-0 to the away win. We're going to nick it.
Question for Noah. Have you seen any defensive weaknesses from Tuchel's first 10 games to give Everton hope in an attacking stance? From what I have seen, Chelsea haven't scored many goals, but look very solid.
Yeah, against Southampton, Minamino proved that Chelsea aren't indestructible at the back. And Barnsley, actually, in the FA Cup, Barnsley have got some great forwards. And Chelsea couldn't control Cauley Woodrow, and they couldn't control Callum Styles. And most people probably haven't heard of Cauley Woodrow and Callum Styles, but Chelsea couldn't control them. So for sure, we're not the perfect team, and we have struggled at the back at points. But that Southampton game, I thought, right, the wheels are coming off a bit here. Against Man United, we weren't great. Burnley was one of the worst Chelsea performances I've seen in terms of I was almost falling asleep at the end of it. So for sure, Chelsea haven't been perfect, but I think in the last 2 or 3 against Atletico Madrid, when you've got some of the best attackers in European football coming up against you, and Chelsea held them off pretty well. I'm confident that I think we can handle. Even though DCL and Richarlison are 2 of the very best, and they are the best attackers on Merseyside. Like I said, I'm confident that we'll be okay against them.
Ryan, if you want to answer the next one, and if you want to add the thing I've just shared in the chat for us to the stream, and we can just go over John's comment.
Yeah. John Soanes, a subscriber and regular watcher of the channel. If the team has intentions to finish in the top 4, I feel we must not lose tomorrow. So I think this comes to avoiding defeat. And if that is, would I take a point tomorrow? Yes, I probably would take a point, because I think that would be okay for both teams. And actually, before the fixtures this weekend, I thought Leicester, they got really lucky yesterday against Brighton, let's be honest. But I thought Leicester were going to drop points, and United, but the United won today. So I thought Everton and Chelsea were going to nip in there and actually finish in the top 4 alongside Man City, ahead of the teams potentially. Maybe not United, but I certainly thought Leicester would drop out. So a point would keep both teams ticking. It is important not to lose because confidence is really high at the moment, and I think a defeat could be a real setback. And just looking at the table now, Everton
I would
place.
Yeah, I would say obviously we do have the game in hand still on Chelsea. And if we win both our games in hand, that obviously means that we're beating Chelsea. We'd overtake them and would still have a game in hand, and would be very, very close to both United and City. Looking further down the table, it's important because West Ham have Leeds next, which will be quite a close battle. And we don't want to have to rely, like on in the past, other teams doing poorly for us to do well. We will actually want to push ourselves. So I think as long as we're not losing, I could see Everton coming away with a win tomorrow. Again, like Leicester, and I know they managed to nick it against Fulham today. But I think Everton have a real chance, especially with 9 undefeated away games. Our away form is looking very, very strong. So I think I will come on to predictions after, but I think that even a draw, but I think a win would really set us up nicely, knocking on the next people's doors, because we do have those game in hand still. So I think as long as we're not losing, then we're still well within top 4 positions.
Noah, can you come back to that? I mean, just thinking, a point would not be a terrible result for either team. Keeps it ticking. I know, obviously, you want to win.
I think that top 4 will stay the same. I think that's how it will look at the end of the season. Maybe with United. Is it though? Maybe with United and Leicester sticking around. But I think Chelsea have.
Do you think that's not going to slip away?
Leicester, they've got injuries, but I don't think they're going to slip away. No, I think they've got the quality. But yeah, point. Look, players like Mason Mount can't score at home, but they can score away, so that works in your favour as well. Mount's not going to get on the ball and get in from 22 yards and find the bottom corner, is he? I don't think that's going to happen at home because he doesn't have that home form going for him. Yeah, it'll be a great point for Everton. I think it'll be a decent point for Chelsea. It's a remarkable top six anyway, with Chelsea, Everton, and West Ham battling out for fourth. You know, you go back to when Chelsea won the league under Conte, and this would have been a really disappointing. This would have been a really disappointing finish. I think in the times we're in now, Chelsea finishing fourth is quite impressive, especially considering the latter kind of period of Lampard's tenure at Chelsea. So yeah, I think that top four is going to stay the same, and I think it'll be a good point if you get one.
I would completely disagree. I think Everton definitely get top four this season. Just looking at stats from Chelsea, obviously you've got the last 5 games being played there. Obviously we had 2 losses. One was Fulham, which was a stupid loss, but I think we've turned a corner from then. And one was City. Obviously City have done take away today's performance, but they've had a remarkable run of games. Obviously, your last 5 results, you beat Liverpool, so we thank you for that. Then you drew to United, you drew to Southampton, which is a poor result if you're trying to push as well, and then you beat Newcastle and Sheffield United. So again, like Everton, where we've had West Brom, it's not a very difficult fixture, which you should be winning anyway. But your stats overall this season, you've scored an average of 1.6 goals per game. 0.9. So it's not that, although you set up very strong defensively, you haven't really pushed that far forward either. I think with Richarlison in form at the moment, we've got King as an option as well, and Calvert-Lewin hopefully come back into form. I really think that you're going to struggle keeping us out as well. But also defensively, I think we are strong. So I think, again, you've got a big challenge tomorrow.
I think we've got a formation that works with 3 at the back. And you've also got to remember we can bring Giroud off the bench, who's unlike Mason Mount, plays better at home than he does away. So we've got that attacking option as well. Is it? What's that?
How old is Giroud?
How old is Giroud? He's almost your age, but I think a bit younger.
Go on. Which is...
yeah, no, I think...
how old is he?
How old? I don't actually know how old Giroud is. I think 30, 34, maybe. I'm
not ancient. Okay, we established that.
He's not quite on there.
He does score against us a lot, though. I mean, I'll give you that. He's been a real thorn in the Everton side for years, not just at Chelsea, at Arsenal as well.
Yeah, he's not a dinosaur just yet, unlike Mabbsy. So
wow.
He's still got the quality, and a lot of Chelsea fans want to see him starting. I personally think he is better off the bench, and I know that's a little bit of an insult, but I do think he's better off the bench. I wouldn't change Werner up front. I know he's got his stick this season, but I would start Werner over Giroud any day.
I do think you have to remember that our away form is on point so far. That is a real factor to be messing away with. And I think Sigurdsson and James Rodriguez are really going to shaft you tomorrow. Their creative play going forward is very, very strong. It only takes 1 or 2 chances to score a goal if you're with it. And I think Richarlison's finish will be very strong. I predict that we're really going to come at you. Even though we've got a defensive setup, I think on the break we will be very strong, and you're going to have to counter that. And if you're playing 3 at the back, is that going to be enough to stop us? We'll have to wait and see. But I think it is going to be a challenge for you.
Chelsea can play in a 5-3-2 as well. So if that were the case and Chelsea were struggling in the back, they'd switch it up to a 5-3-2, and we'd go forwards. We'd go forwards with 2 up front, the 2 up front instead of just Werner up front on his own. So I think either way we've got it covered.
Yeah, I'm not convinced we're going to have much of the ball tomorrow. I'll be honest. I'm not trying to sound too negative, but I did watch you against Liverpool. I thought you played really well. I mean, it doesn't take much anymore to beat them. But,
it's not hard to beat Liverpool at the moment, so don't give them too much.
I don't expect us to have much of the ball, and I think we will play low block and try and counter-attack you, and we'll use our power and pace on the counter-attack.
I think, Ryan, it would be interesting to see what people's predictions are, especially Noah's, and Mabbsy can have another go at him. But I think it'd be interesting to see what people's predictions are.
Just make it very true.
I'm going to save Noah to last. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. And also, people in the comments, feel free to put in your predictions, and we can see if we agree or disagree. But go ahead, Noah. What do you think the score tomorrow?
No. Save Noah. Save Noah to last.
Okay, Mabbsy, you go. Go ahead.
I've already said 1-0, 1-11.
What was that, sorry? 1-0
1-0 Richarlison.
Okay. I would probably go with either 2-1 to Everton or 3-1.
Okay.
I'd like a win. My heart is saying, I think 1-0 or 2-1 set piece, something like that. but my head's saying I think this has got draw written all over it. And if it was a betting man and I was going to put a bet on, I put 1-1. I don't think there's going to be many goals in it because I think Everton are going to keep it quite tight. I don't think Chelsea are going to have the space in behind Everton's back line, and we're not going to play a high line. So that's not going to be there. I think it's going to be a really tight game, 1-1. And this actually leads me into co-presenter, contributor of the channel, Basil. He also agrees with me and thinks 1-1 Richarlison. And now we're saving it for a special guest. Noah,
I think
what's the score tomorrow? Head and heart, please.
I think 1-0 was a sensible prediction. I think if I took off my Chelsea shirt and put on my journalistic hat, I'd probably go with 1-0. But I think from a Chelsea fan and thinking positive, I do think Chelsea have the potential to score. I think it'll be 2-1. I don't think. Yeah, I'm not so confident we can keep a clean sheet against you lot, but 2-1, I'd say. Yeah.
Another comment from Basil, co-presenter. I can't see either team being open enough to concede more goals. And John is saying, I think 2-1 Everton. Nice to see some positive Everton fans. I think, again, Pickford has improved recently. We're seeing few mistakes coming our way of the simple shots which he should be saving, and in fact he is making some remarkable saves. So I think we can, and our defence very strong as well. If you look back at the team, I think Ben Godfrey's been very, very on it. I think Coleman will bring again seniority to the team. I think Allen as well, now that he's back in the team, is very, very strong, and Davis keeps giving 100%. So defensively, I really don't see you scoring more than one. And to be honest, I think our set pieces mixed with our away record is very, very strong. So I see us scoring a set piece. I see either Keane coming up with a strong header, 45th minute plus 2 minutes of injury time, getting his head on that, lovely goal. I see Everton scoring early first, maybe with Sigurdsson sending a ball over, Richarlison nice tuck away in the corner. That'll be 1-0. Then I reckon that you might come back. It'll be 1-0, and then I reckon we'll go on and score either 1 or 2 more.
Okay.
Little analysis for you.
Very specific. Get your money on that. Give you 2,000 to 1.
Yeah, easy win.
Mabbsy, I want to hear from you. We're going to wrap things up very shortly. This is a massive game for the top four, isn't it? It's a massive game, and I think if Everton lose, it's. Do you consider this a 6-pointer in a way?
No. I think at the end of the day we've got to keep. If we lose tomorrow, I don't think we let our head drop. I think we just keep going. And you know what? If we make top four, you make top four. But you know what? To me, I sacrifice being top four, just finishing above them. Then be happy. With Europe, I really would. Honestly, you know what? I think this top four is like, well, you know, it's great, but we've got to be realistic. We've got to be realistic. You know, what can we do? We get Europe. Yeah, I'm happy at that, and we finish with the shite, and then potentially, we've got the FA Cup coming up. Why not go and win that? Put all efforts and get silverware.
Don't shoot me for being forward thinking, but you talk about let's think reasonably. I think it's not going to be a 6-point game. I think West Ham will be the 6-point game, and I'm sure most people would agree with me. But I think Chelsea is still a very, very crucial game. Obviously, we need to beat the teams around us. If we drop points to a lower team, although it's annoying, it doesn't really affect us. Whereas if we're losing to Chelsea, not only are we dropping points, but they're also gaining an advantage on us. I think we really need to push out for them. And you talk about being a reasonable result. I don't see why we can't push for Champions League. I know if we lose to Chelsea, it'll put us in a negative mindset for our other two fixtures. I think it's Palace and someone. I can't remember who the other one is, but it's 2 games that we should be winning. But I feel like if we're losing to Chelsea, then we're going to struggle against the other 2 teams. But if we come out positively, I think we can bag a win against Chelsea. It will set us up for the other 2 teams, and then we really can be pushing for a top 4 finish.
John, I don't think West Ham. I don't see West Ham as a threat. I know they're doing really well this season, but I mean, I'll bring Noah in on this.
West Ham is definitely a threat for me.
So,
who are our top threats then?
West Ham. It's between Chelsea, West Ham, and Everton for that 4th place this season, and I think Chelsea will get 4th, so that leaves the battle for 5th. I think it's between you and West Ham, and the quality they've got is unbelievable. The way David Moyes has got them playing this year, Yeah, I think West Ham your main competition, not Chelsea.
I wouldn't be so quick to write off Everton or West Ham. Mabbsy, I'll let you come on in just one sec, but I wouldn't write off Everton too quickly. Again, remember, we do still have a game in hand on you, so even if you win and then we come back, it's still a 1-point contest. So I really do think we're still in there with a chance. Go on, Mabbsy.
Yeah, just saying our next 2 games, really. So we've got, basically after this, we've got Everton versus Burnley, and then we've got Everton versus Man City in the FA Cup game, and then there's an international break, and then Crystal Palace.
I think Palace should be a guaranteed win. I know we've struggled against Palace before, but their performances have been poor. Those 2 games, ignore City because that's a cup game, and I'm worried. But you know what? You never know what's happening. And they've just lost as well against United, so you never know what happens there. But focusing on the league, you've got 2 fixtures coming up which should be guaranteed wins. Again, we've got Villa, which, if you look at the table, aren't really that much of a threat anymore. And I do think we should be beating them. So, you know what? It's still all to play for. And I know we're coming towards the end of the season, but there's so many games left, and everyone is important.
That's not even been rescheduled yet.
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous.
We played ridiculous because we played them the 1st of May. You know.
Yeah, we're playing their second fixture is coming up before we played the first one. Yeah.
Well, question for all of you.
Yeah, go on.
Would you rather win? Would you rather? What's more of an achievement?
Go on, say again.
You broke up.
Would you rather win the FA Cup or finish top 4? What's more of an achievement this season in your eyes?
Wow.
I think I would much rather finish. I would win the cup and finish 5th and get Europa League in the cup or top 4. I don't see. I feel like we are going to struggle against City. It's at home, not away, and there aren't fans there to back us. Obviously, City are an incredible team. You can't take that away from them. I think, again, you never know what's going to happen. That's the beautiful thing about football. Anything can happen on the day. But I would rather secure a top 5 finish and win a cup. Bring something home.
The FA Cup is, to me, it's going to be done. We know that everyone keeps going on 1995. Why not go for it? Win the cup. I would be happy with that. With the FA Cup and the 5th or 6th. There we go.
Also, the morale boost that would provide, because it's been a thing for Everton. It's been like a stigma about going to Anfield, and it's been such a long time. It's like, you know what, we're set up to lose, and the last thing they have against us, that they would all told that against us, and now the other thing they have is like, you haven't won a trophy since '95. So if we can get rid of these negative things around us, it completely changes who we are as a club, and then you can't hold all these negative comments about us. So
you know what, right?
Winning a trophy is huge.
So we've got a draw at Goodison against them, a win at Anfield, potentially. A win at Anfield win at Anfield. You know, possibly I finished above them, and the FA Cup. That would be the icing on the cake. It really would.
I'm going to come in on this then and answer that as well, if you want.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say you're building something special at Everton. You are building something special. And whether or not you'll finish top 4 this year, next year's a whole different ball game. So whatever happens against Chelsea tomorrow night, you will succeed under Carlo Ancelotti, and I'm sure you'll win something. I'm sure of that.
I'd like us to. I completely agree with the other boys, the Blue Boys, because I think this particular season we need to win a trophy and just get that hoodoo, or get that done and wrapped up.
One, so isn't it? Really,
about it. Yeah.
You think about it, it's a real last one that we need now, just to cement ourselves up there. Is getting another trophy, getting that, going down after the day out at Wembley, coming back, ripping up the town, and just, the City then will be ours. It is ours at the moment, but imagine having those blue fireworks coming off the live buildings.
Just John wrote in the comments, and he's like, we have to finish above the shite in Stanley Park, which, you know what, in the back of my, it's not even a factor anymore. This season, I've written down that Everton will finish above them. I really don't think it's a threat, 1,000,000%. So I don't think that's even a worry anymore. And I said that I'm not a bitter blue. I'm just focused on Everton now. Screw the shite. But I really do think that and just a positive momentum. Love the background change, Ryan. I really think that winning a trophy just sets us up nicely, and it'll retain players in our squad. Whereas if we're not winning, people are going to want to leave and go elsewhere to teams that are that are winning trophies. But if we can win a trophy, it shows that we're a club worth being at. And I think, again, Ancelotti is such an accomplished person as a player and a manager. He knows what he's doing. We've got so many positive things coming our way and looking forward to. We've got the stadium. We've got such a solid team now. And you know what? Arguably, it's the best team that Everton have had in probably my lifetime or thereabouts. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what the club have to offer. And you know what? It won't be long till we're lifting trophies of our own. Hopefully going to Wembley Stadium, far away from Noah and I, and we'll be watching Everton, not the shite. So looking forward to it.
What's the equivalent of St Totteringham's Day? Have you got a name for it?
Of what? Sorry.
A St Totteringham's Day. So when Tottenham finish above Arsenal, they have this St Totteringham's Day. Have you got the equivalent? Have you got a name for it?
Well, unfortunately,
no, we don't finish above them often enough.
We're only 19 years old now, so Mabbsy might remember, Ryan potentially might, but I don't remember a time where Everton have actually been on top of them, and obviously the first time Everton beat them at Anfield. So
2014, 2014.
There was a couple of seasons we did it, and I remember them well.
2013-14, wasn't it? And then 12-13 finished above as well.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think my hatred for Liverpool had developed that much then, but it really has in the last few years. So now I can visualize it and remember.
It's the fans that have given you that to John. John, it's the fans that have driven you to hate them. If there was no fans,
at Liverpool Uni now, gone to a lot more games, seeing it all, being involved, and just seeing the red waving around and not the blue. It is heartbreaking. But now, don't you worry, this will be waved all over the place. I can guarantee you that.
We want to hear from you. Come on, tell us what your aspirations are for the rest of the season as a Chelsea supporter. And
well, first off, I'm looking forward to getting down to Marine. That's a club I'm desperate to now cover. So Marine in Liverpool,
great ground.
Absolutely. So Marine is the side in Liverpool that I now want to go and cover some football for. But yeah, Chelsea aspirations for the rest of the season. Keep players fit, finish in the top four. I think maybe win the FA Cup. It's going to be a really tough test, but who knows? Chelsea's still in the Champions League. We've got the the home leg against Atletico Madrid, and we've got the away goal. So loads to look forward to from a Chelsea fan's point of view. Some big games coming up for my lot in southwest London, and obviously after Everton tomorrow night, we've got Leeds. So that's Marcelo Bielsa versus Thomas Tuchel should be an exciting game. So yeah, lots to look forward to.
The way you said that, Southwest London. But you know what? Post-COVID, you're welcome to stay with me anytime you want. And you know what? You can come to Goodison Park, see how a real Merseyside team play. And you know what? You want to go see Marine. You can come and see. And I'll give you the ranking order of Merseyside teams. It goes Everton, then it goes Marine. Tranmere, then it goes Marine. And then it just ends there. There's no other team.
Yeah.
But you know what? You're welcome to come and watch the quality team.
Thank you. And you're always welcome up in the Midlands. The invitation extends to you as well, Mabbsy.
Come to Derby.
Always welcome up in these Midlands.
Come to Liverpool, have a night out, have a few beers.
Can't wait. Just another comment from Basil there. He says, honestly, I think we have more of a chance of finishing in the top four. You know what? I think we do have a great chance. Obviously, City is a very hard game. And if we want to progress, then we are going to have to beat City. I reckon if we beat City, then we will win the FA Cup. And he also, just a comment after that, he said, although I was pleased to see City and not although I was pleased to see City are not indestructible today. I think that so just they can be beaten, and I think just coming up so close to the game, I think it's important to see that, you know what, it's like Liverpool and that whole Anfield situation again. We can go and we can beat them. So just have the positive mindset. It will really help us moving forward. And if we beat them there, I reckon we can go on to win the cup as well. So a lot to look forward to here. Ryan, you keep coming in and out.
There's internet problems at the moment, so.
Right, well, on that note, we've had a wonderful hour and 5-minute episode there. Thank you for everyone for tuning in. Make sure you follow us on both Facebook and YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe, share with all your friends. We will be joining you back after the match where we've clearly won the game and Noah's going to be crying.
No promise to be on.
So thank you very, very much, Noah, for joining us. We look forward to having you again on tomorrow. Again, make sure you like and subscribe, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Take care.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye, guys. It's just me. I'll log out. Noah Abs Media on Instagram. Go follow.
Hello again. I'm just going to wrap things up and leave you with the branding. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you. I had an internet problem before, so that was why I was disappearing.